Hello and welcome to the EJ Tech Show. And today we've got something rather exciting. I say exciting because this is a budget phone, and this being the season of flagships, we don't get to see a lot of budget phones, especially at this price point. This is the Motorola G9, which comes in at a price point of 11,499 rupees. And that's a very competitive price point.
Also, at least according to Motorola, it's 100% made in India. So that's important to you.
And made for India.
Yeah, and made for India. So if that's important to you, then yeah, it's got it. Yeah.
On the whole, as a budget device, this is a really good phone.
I mean, for me, usually it's very easy to recommend Motorola phones to people, simply because much like Samsung, they do tend to offer you, they do have a knack of offering its customers a very well balanced package, and that too for good value for money. So the Moto G9 also seems to be, to some extent, following that guideline as well.
Yeah, so let's go through its hits. It starts with a 6.5-inch HD Plus Max Vision IPS display. Then you get a triple rear camera at the back. You get now a 48 megapixel sensor, primary sensor, which is really good resolution, I should say.
Yeah.
And you get a 2 megapixel depth sensor and 2 megapixel macro along with that. And it gets a water drop notch in the front with an 8 megapixel selfie camera, I should say. Apart from that, there's a few hidden sort of features. It gets a Google Assistant button right here at the top. It's placed kind of awkwardly for anyone with not even large hands.
Yeah, not the easiest to reach.
But still, it's better to have one than to not have one.
Sure.
And then again, this being a Motorola phone, you get motor gestures. So if you just shake it twice, that's the flashlight on. You twist it like that and you get the camera app, quick loading. So when it comes to features like that, there's literally no one else in this price segment that's offering those sort of features. And we can take a look at the Samsungs, the Realmes, the Xiaomis of the world. But Motorola still does it best when it comes to a near stock Android experience. And I'm happy to report this has Android 10. The previous Moto budget phone we reviewed was the Moto G8 Power Lite, which had Android 9, Android 10 promised, but still Android 9. This has full-blown Android 10, near stock Android.
So that means no bloatware, no ads,
nothing.
Just uninterrupted, full-on Android experience.
Yeah, so you get navigational gestures with Android 10, you also get that dark mode. So even though it's a budget price point, they give you a bang for your buck. They give you practically everything they can. Now let's get to the inside of this phone. This runs on the Snapdragon 662 chipset.
So this is the first smartphone in India to get that chipset. So it is an upgrade to the Snapdragon 665, but if you look at GPU and CPU performance, there's not much difference between them.
It's more of an incremental upgrade, I would say. Sort of like you get one car in one model year, and then the new model year, they just sell it with slightly different lights.
This is offering you better image processing though. But like I said, it's very incremental. It's nothing fantastic.
So unless you keep them both together and test them out side by side, you won't really notice a huge difference. Now, apart from the Snapdragon 662, it gets 4 GB of RAM, which is good enough for this price point. I think that's
But it's not a lot though, is it? I mean, I think it would have made a much bigger impact to gaming if they did, let's say, give you a 6 GB RAM. But 4 GB.
But then again, you also have to take into account that this has no bloatware. So you know that your RAM is only going to focus on the main stuff, on running your operating system and running whatever game you want to run on it. And also, quite a nifty feature, even though this is a budget phone, you've got a proper gaming mode. So you can block notifications, block incoming calls.
All your incoming distractions will be blocked.
Everything. So that's something that I don't even see on higher end phones. So it's really good to see it on this. Apart from the Snapdragon 662 and the 4 GB RAM, this also gets 64 GB of onboard storage.
Which is expandable to 512 GB,
But one contentious point in that is that this now gets a hybrid SIM slot instead of a proper dual SIM with micro SD. So you can either use one SIM card and a micro SD or 2 SIM cards at a time, not all 3 altogether. So that may be an issue for some users, but on the whole, it's not a huge deal breaker. You're still getting a lot of other added bonus perks over this.
So you briefly spoke about the display. This is 6.5-inch HD Plus display. So that's a 720p resolution, not 1080p. Which I'm a little bit sad about, because I know if Motorola wanted, they could have bunged in a 1080p display over here. You're getting 87% screen real estate over here, screen to body ratio, which is pretty good considering that this doesn't exactly have fairly slim bezels. I mean, look at that chin. That's pretty big.
It's really
but still, when it comes to watching content, it's okay. But obviously, because it's 720p display, I'm guessing on YouTube you can't watch 1080p videos, right?
Yeah.
You can only watch up till 720p.
Neither can you do that on
Yeah.
Netflix or
Yeah.
any of your other apps. But honestly, as far as IPS displays go, it's really crisp. It's got really good colors.
Yeah.
Now there is yet another point of contention that people do have with this phone. The G8 was offered with a hole punch display, and this goes back to a water drop notch, which I don't have a problem with, honestly, because as I've said in other reviews in the past, I prefer the water drop notch to the hole punch because it sort of gets in the way. It's asymmetrical, so I don't really like it.
Yeah.
So again, to each their own. Maybe Motorola thought this would sell more phones. That's why they went back to this.
But the G8, by the way, never came to India. So for them, it's like the hole punch never existed in the first place. So they're like, you know what, let's just go with the U-shaped notch. Why not?
True.
So,
And this is launching in India first. This is an India first global launch.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's still a good display. It gets decently bright. I wish it would get slightly brighter in outdoor environments.
Yeah.
But it's not so bad that you can't view it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to do whatever you need to do.
And it's got a 20:9 aspect ratio as well. So like I said, for watching content, you're good to go. Colors are pretty crispy, punchy. Obviously, because it's not OLED, you don't get those inky blacks, you don't get those super vivid colors. But for your day-to-day video watching, it's absolutely fine.
And also talking about content consumption, this has a 5000 mAh battery. So that's something they've also upgraded over the previous generation. 5000 mAh it's not 6000 mAh, which we've seen on other phones, but still 5000 mAh is completely respectable. It's very, it's more than enough to get you
So what are we talking about? 1.5 to 2 days.
1.5 to 2 days with decent to heavy usage. If you're a frugal user, if you don't use it much, if let's say you need to buy this phone to give to an elderly parent or an elderly grandparent, this will satisfy them for their content watching needs for a couple of days easily, no problem. Also, if you want to charge it up quickly, you get 20-watt fast charging, which is good because until very recently, even competitors like Samsung only offered 15 watts at this price point. This is now giving you 20 watts, So that should get you from 0 to full in under 2 hours. But it's not super fast, but still, it's good. Now, when it comes to design, Motorola has gone for a plastic back and a plastic frame. On the G7, I remember they had a glass back with a plastic frame. Honestly, when we're dealing at this price point, when we've got a whole wide variety of glass-stick and so-called...
You're not going to get glass over here, basically. You're not going to get an aluminium body. It's plastic, it is what it is. It also does come in a different color. I think it comes in a green color, which I prefer to this one, but I think I'm just biased towards green colors in general.
That's because you use the OnePlus 8 Pro.
Yeah, so if I see a green shade on a phone, I'm saying, I want to buy that. That's for me. But yeah, this is not a bad color, but yeah, you might want to go for the green one if you get your hands on that.
Don't listen to me. I'm fine with the blue. The blue looks really nice. It's brilliant blue. It's quite deep actually, and it reflects really nicely in the light. It is glossy, however, so there's a lot of fingerprints.
But it comes with a plastic case in the box.
Yeah, it comes with a plastic case in the box. Slap that on, you're good to go. No problems whatsoever. I wish it came with a screen guard pre-installed. That's something that consumers at this price point do like. If it came with that, I think they would appreciate that. Even on, I think the G8 Power Lite had a screen guard in the box separately. This doesn't, however. But that's okay. You can get one port.
And you're also covered for your essentials. You've got a USB-C port over there.
Yeah.
You've got a headphone jack. You've got a mono speaker. Plus, it's got water repellent design.
Exactly. So splashes, etc.
Splashes of rain.
It should be fine.
I mean, don't jump into the pool with it. I don't know why anyone would do that, but try not doing that. Avoid that because I don't think it'll be able to survive that. But like you said, odd splashes should be absolutely fine.
Yeah. Another quick thing about the design, the fingerprint sensor in the back. This is something we've seen from Motorola before at this price point. It's absolutely fine. It's foolproof. It works 9 out of 10 times. One odd time it'll go wrong is probably... Now it's going wrong. Okay, it went wrong, but probably because my hand is all sweaty from holding the phone for so long. And that's something that usually does happen. But still, it's okay. It's not that big.
But do you think it's high time that Motorola finally introduced an in-display fingerprint sensor on their phones?
At this price point,
At
this price point, I'd still say no because we can see that even other competitors like Samsung have not gone to it. Even with one of their latest M series budget contenders, the M31s, they still have a side-mounted fingerprint scanner. That's something I wouldn't mind seeing.
But then they give up on that Moto logo on the back as well, right?
Exactly.
So,
that's a great place for branding.
Yeah. So it makes sense to place a fingerprint sensor there as well. Yeah.
Although I will say this, there is something very familiar about this camera array. And people who really know their smartphones will know that this really looks inspired by the Huawei Mate series. I don't think that's a bad thing because the Huawei Mate series is a very attractive device. And if Motorola wants their devices to look a little bit like that,
there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, so speaking about the camera, you've been using this frequently for the last couple of days, right? I mean, what sort of performance are we looking at? Because it's got a 48 megapixel triple camera, and in the past, if past is anything, if history is anything to go by, Motorola does give you decent camera performance, right?
This has a 48 megapixel sensor, which is absolutely great for photos. At this price point, it does a very good job, especially in good lighting. In daylight, I got some fantastic pictures of the clouds.
Okay.
But the other two sensors, which is a 2 megapixel depth sensor and a 2 megapixel macro sensor, they leave something to be desired. I wish Motorola had given them a little bit more attention.
And maybe it would have been nicer if they included a ultra wide angle lens instead of a depth sensor, right?
But I still do know why they included the depth sensor, because they have this really nifty cutout feature, which some people might like using, some people might not, and also it gives you the option to do portrait images, which is something that phones at this price point usually like to market as a gimmick feature. So you do have that option as well. So I did speak about a lot of points of contention with the Moto G9. One of them, unfortunately for me, is the night vision camera. It's not bad, but it's
not the best either, right?
It's just about okay. It's just about enough to be able to say that yes, this phone has a night mode. But if you're just taking pictures of people in indoor settings, in medium to low lighting, for that I think it should be absolutely fine. No one's expecting you to go and do astrophotography with this.
Also, you got a macro camera over there. You showed me some of the images, and I'll be honest, most of them look very washed out. And again, I think you're having trouble focusing on these pictures as well.
Maybe adding a laser autofocus system would help, but again, I'm guessing that would jack up the price, and Motorola won't be able to sell it at that price point anymore.
So bottom line, the primary sensor is your go-to sensor. That'll click great pictures, but your other two sensors, slightly on the weaker side, possible but not fantastic.
If you just want normal pictures, just point and shoot daily pictures in daylight, it's absolutely fine for that. In fact, for that, I think this has the best primary sensor I've seen at this price point. So now the selfie camera, like I said before, is an 8 megapixel unit in that water drop notch, and it's okay. It's okay for the normal everyday daylight selfie. It's not the sharpest, but again, most selfie cameras at this price point will only do well if you give them a lot of light. If you do daylight photography, then you're fine. Indoor, not so much. You will get slight softness. But that's okay. That's a compromise you'll have to be willing to live with at a price point like this.
Okay, so let's wrap things up by asking you the all-important question. Who would you recommend this phone to?
I would recommend this to people who really care about content consumption, making long phone calls for long durations, and basically taking the odd picture in daylight conditions. Not for power-hungry users. This is not for spec chasers, but it's very good to recommend. It's very easy to recommend to people buying at this price point, because you get near stock Android, you get a good main sensor, you get a good screen, and you get great battery life. And that, I think, just wraps it up as a good daily driver.
Well, that's it for our review of the new Moto G9, and it seems like a good phone at a good price point. And also, like I said, it's 100% made in India, so maybe tone it down with the anti-China comments. I don't know, right? But yeah, that was it for our review. We'll be back soon. That's it for us. I'm Sahil, this is Soham, and this was the EJ Tech Show. Thank you for watching.